God, I'm having a bad hair day. Son of a bitch. Welcome in today's video. I'm just on the Chris, and today I'm gonna be showing you guys how I make my carded figures. And it's so incredibly easy that you could do it, trust me. But before we get started, thank you so much for joining in. If you're new here, welcome. Consider subscribing. I would really appreciate it. By now you guys probably have seen the Mando figure little montage video that I made recently. It was a lot of fun to make, but there's something in that video that is out of date already. I found a better method, something that I just wish I had thought of sooner. And in that video I showed you how I make the packaging and assembly and all that sort of stuff, and that still applies and it's still a method to use, but it didn't have a particular thing that I wish it had. A back. There's no backing, and because it's so freaking difficult to make one of these. But I have a solution. So how do you make carded action figures? Well, it's pretty straightforward. It has taken me some time to perfect, if you will. It's always never going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. It's going to be pretty close, but not perfect. The first thing you do is you need to have a card designed or make yourself. I do all of my graphic design and making, so that's not a problem. So once you have that done, this is the steps I'm going to show you in how to make the card. But not only that, I'm going to show you how to make a front and back. This is one of my first attempts way back in the day. This is really really old, and it has a back as well, but it's really thick. I mean, really thick. In fact, this is probably one of my earliest graphic design or learning how to use Photoshop. Gosh, this is probably 6 years old, maybe more. But getting that back onto a card is actually difficult. The front is the easiest part. There's another type of cardboard that you can use that I'll get into another video, but for now, it's really easy to find. You can buy this in bulk, and it's just cardboard backer boards. And getting this front on is the easiest thing. You just use some sort of adhesive spray, and you take it and then you stick it on there, let it dry, and then you cut it out and you're done. So easy. Getting the back on, now that's a whole other story, because how do you line it up? So the only way you can actually do it is if you glue that on, cut out the entire card, and then flip it over, and then you get one shot to try and get it on perfect. Perfectly straight, perfectly square. It's impossible. So what I had done over the years is given up on doing backers because it's really freaking difficult. But the problem is if you go this route and try to line it up, as you can see, it's not square. Like, it doesn't match. Like, this is thicker, it's over than here, it's much thinner because you have to accommodate for the misalignment. So how do you get these aligned to where you can have a front and back and make it as easy as possible? I don't know why I didn't think of this in the first place. Well, you do this. So I've designed this in Photoshop, all the cool stuff, all that good graphics I did myself. I'm gonna be releasing a limited edition run of these, painted, 10 of them. Coming up very soon. I want to show you how I made the card for it. So what I did was I measured an action figure card from Vintage Line, and I created this in Photoshop. If you don't know how to use Photoshop, let me know in the comments. Maybe I can make a video for that in the future. Just some quick tutorials, basic stuff, just to get you running. I won't dive into how I made this in this one. I'm assuming you already know how to do this or have access to getting a card and printed and all that stuff. So there you go. I put them side by side, put it on 11 by 17 paper. It's like a poster, it's like semi-gloss. I laid these out side by side. I left a small gap. I guessed on this gap, and I actually got super lucky, and it's perfect. Basically, that is the thickness, pretty close that is, to this comic book backing. And what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna cut this out, fold it over onto this. I can see through it because I'm holding this up to the light. So what I am looking for is that seam line. And I'm gonna line it up with this backer board. And you line it up kind of like so. Let me do this real quick. And I bring it down. And then from here, what you want to do is start a seam line. Take the top of it. Don't fold it all the way over. Do not crease it. Just get a nice little fold going. Just a line to work with. And then let go. And then if you move this, you have a nice little seam. Fold it over, and you're going to look from the top. And what you're going to do is it's kind of just eyeball where you put that crease line. And then slightly apply pressure to the paper. But do not, don't crease it down just yet. You just want to get extra fold in there. All right, next step is take the backer card. This one's a little bent, but for the demonstration purposes, this will be fine. You stick it in there just like so, and then here's the backer. Keep it in there tight, but don't push too far because you don't want to make a new crease. So what you're going to do is once it's in there, make sure it's lined up fully like so. And what you're going to do is in the middle, right here, press down till it's tight, and then push down on it and make a fold line just like that. And now you probably want to just go like down and up, right? But don't do that. What you want to do is press down on it with the same motion as you're going down. You want to push at a 45-degree angle inwards. That way you get a good solid crease without pushing that paper. Without moving the line like that. And press, make sure that's in there. I did a decent job. As you can see right here, I missed just a little bit. It's a little bit overhang. Don't worry about it because you can fix that so easily. Pull that out. And now, do not press down on this. It's very crucial because this is formed now to this. If you press down on that, this won't fit back in there snugly. There'll be a slight air gap in between right there. So what you're gonna do is now is take this, which is what you're gonna be gluing this onto. You're gonna take it and you're gonna put it inside there, and you're probably thinking, oh, okay, cool. Now I can just like spray it and put it on. Don't do that. I've learned the hard way. You can never get it to work out that way because if you do that, this card almost every single time will shift slightly. And once this makes contact with that, there's no coming back, period. Once you spray it, at least with this spray right here, there's no coming back. Because this will happen. See how I did that right there and how crooked it got? That's what happens when you do not use the tape method. So how do you keep it straight? Well, after several failed attempts, I found this to be a very, very neat little trick. Double-sided tape. So what you do, take a little piece, right at the seam line in the middle, you're gonna take this and you're gonna set it down, right like so. Like that. Ideally without a crease line. I just made a crease. That's not good. But for this is just demonstration. You're gonna take this back in here, line it up to where it's straight. Just like so. Make sure it's in there and then press down real fast, real hard, firmly. Now it's on there perfect. And then, no matter what you do, it doesn't move. It's not gonna fall, and it's always gonna be a straight line. So from here, this is what you do. You're gonna take your spray and you're gonna spray, bam, get it down there, smooth it all out. Over here, same thing, bam, spray it in there, get it all nice and flushed out, spray it, all that good stuff. All right, for the sake of this video, I just threw some double-sided tape down to pretend like it's glue. So now that that's on there, we're pretending it's glued down. What you're gonna do is you're gonna take a cutter of some kind. Either it be scissors, if you don't have one of these. Recommend using one of these though. And now you're gonna cut it out. Now you may be asking yourself, why did I leave so much room left over on the edges? Well, that is because if you're using a spray, you have enough overspray from the edges to where it's not gonna peel off, at least in theory. So if you cut it straight in the first place and then glued it, well, it'd be pretty difficult. You're gonna have to worry about making sure you get enough spray glue or adhesive on the edges. So it's easier to do it this way. Bam. And there you go, it's cut out. Now you have a card. Now, remember when I said I could fix this? So if you don't like that, if you don't like that overlapping cover, all you gotta do is cut it off. Look at that. And now, remember I didn't actually glue this, I used tape, so it's kind of flopping around. And then we have ourselves a card. But you're like, Chris, what do you missed the corner piece. I mean, this is totally optional, it's up to you, but if you want to match it to like Star Wars figures, but maybe you're not making Star Wars figures, so this is really just up to your discretion and your style. But I like to round off the corners with one of these guys. I bought this so many years ago. I don't know the exact size of this, but I had to use some experimentation and buying a lot of different ones to try and find the right size, and this is the closest I could find. It's pretty damn awesome. All you gotta do is you stick it on in here. Again, this is usually glued, so it's gonna be a lot easier. There we go. And then yeah, bingo. And look at that. Now you have a card that has a front, but also a matching back that fits perfectly to one another. So that's it. That's how you make a card back for your action figures. All you have to do is plan ahead a little bit when you're designing these up, or if you're having somebody else design them, then all you have to do is have them laid out next to each other. Leave a small gap, very thin gap in between them, and honestly it can actually be as big as you want it to be, because they will always fold over as long as you hit center of that of your gap. It'll always match up on the other end. And that's it. You just cut it out and do that. It's pretty easy. I have no idea why I didn't think of this in the past. It literally came to me when I was laying in bed ready to go to sleep. I'm like, oh, that would probably work. And it did. So now I will be releasing these very soon. Check this out. Whoa, and it has a backing. So this is what it was originally going to look like, obviously with a figure, not a destroyed one. I took the figure out because this is literally the one that was in that video that you watched. I'm like, that's not good enough. I don't like that. You may notice these are different. I printed these, didn't like the quality of the print, wasn't good enough, and it just didn't have a good feel. And plus, I made a biggest bonehead mistake on the back. There's a typo. So no matter what, I had to remake them. But I took the opportunity to actually make some tweaks to this thing that I wish I had done in the beginning. So I got a second round at this, like adding some stars and taller now. And it lines up absolutely perfect with the bubble. Before it had a little bit of overhang and it wasn't good enough for my liking. As you can see, it was up here. It wasn't good enough. So fix that. It's going to be awesome. These will be available soon. Who knows? Maybe the time this video comes out, these have already been sold out. I don't know. So that is it. That in a nutshell is how I make my action figure backing cards. Do you guys have a different method? Do you guys use different types of materials? I would like to know. Leave a comment below, because I do read every single comment that I possibly can and respond. Let's have a conversation. I would love to know that your thoughts on this video as well. So thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Hopefully this has helped. And if you guys haven't subscribed already, what's going on? Consider subscribing. I really appreciate it. There'll be links in the description below to kits and stuff to pick up for yourself. Some materials that I recommend will be down there as well. So if you guys have any questions, again, let me know, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Now get out there, make some awesome.